My name is Bonnie. 6 months have passed since the storm that upended my life, and now I'm standing on the balcony of my peaceful beach house in Port Angeles. I watch the waves rhythmically crash against the shore while sipping my hot tea, a sense of tranquility washing over me that I haven't felt in years. But it wasn't always like this. There was a time when my life was a far cry from this serenity. I was married to Ethan, a man I met in college and believed was my soulmate. We were together for 12 years and had been married for 7. I worked as the chief financial officer at a well-known tech startup during the day, and at night, I was Ethan's wife, living in a seemingly perfect life in Seattle. However, the first crack in our relationship appeared one ordinary morning. I got up earlier than Ethan as usual. While brushing my teeth in the bathroom, I noticed his phone light up on the sink. A text preview from a name I didn't recognize caught my eye. Can't wait for this weekend at the lodge, the wine, and that red silk lingerie. So excited. I was rooted to the spot. It wasn't the boldness of the message that shocked me, but the cold, hard truth it represented. In the days leading up to that moment, there had been signs. Ethan had been making up excuses for last-minute business trips, leaving me alone in our once warm home on weekends. He started taking his phone into the shower, something he'd never done before. His laptop had a new password, and his eyes that once held so much love now just glanced past me, as if I were a stranger. I used to tell myself not to be paranoid that long-term relationships have their ups and downs. But seeing that text was like a punch in the gut. It was the confirmation I had secretly feared. I washed my face, did my makeup, all the while feeling a strange sense of detachment, as if I were an outsider watching my own life. When Ethan told me he had a client seminar in Tacoma that weekend, just like every other morning, with his fake smile, I replied flatly, warning him to bring a coat. I didn't ask about the text. I didn't want to disrupt his act because in my mind, I was formulating a plan. That Thursday night, after Ethan had fallen into a deep sleep following his tennis game and a couple of whiskeys, I knew it was my chance. I quietly took his phone, used his fingerprint to unlock it. What I found was a whole secret life he had been living with a woman named Lily. Lily was a 36-year-old marketing executive from Olympia. She was smart, confident, and married to Daniel, a 38-year-old civil engineer who ran his own firm in Tacoma. Through some quiet online sleuthing, I found Daniel's profile. He looked like an honest, hard, working man with a kind face in his LinkedIn photo. I spent that night awake, each text message like a dagger through my heart, reminding me of all the lies Ethan had told me. The next morning, after writing and rewriting a message countless times, I finally sent it to Daniel. I explained that I believed our spouses were having an affair and offered to share evidence. A few hours later, Daniel called me. His voice was calm on the surface, but I could detect a tremor beneath it. After some discussion, we decided to meet at a small coffee shop in Bellingham, a midway point between Seattle and Tacoma. When I saw Daniel, I knew immediately who he was. We sat down, and I showed him the evidence on Ethan's phone. As he scrolled through the messages and photos, his hand tightened. He revealed that he had a spare key to the lodge, which Lily didn't know about. We planned to get there before Ethan and Lily, not to create a scene but to show them the truth. On Sunday morning, I arrived at the lodge in the mountains. Daniel was already there. We sat in silence for a while, sharing our pain and the stories of our suspicions. The place held painful memories for me too. It was where we had gone after a long work-related separation, and it was also where I had lost our first child. As we waited for Ethan and Lily, we set up the living room. We arranged the seats, laid out the wine and glasses, and prepared an envelope full of evidence. When they finally arrived, laughing and carefree, their world came crashing down the moment they saw us. There were denials, accusations, and finally admissions. Ethan tried to explain himself, but I knew his words were empty. Lily broke down in tears, and Daniel was heartbroken. But the biggest bombshell came when Lily revealed that she was pregnant with Daniel's child. It was a moment that no one was prepared for. Ethan was in shock, and I was numb. I pulled out the divorce papers I had prepared and placed them on the table. I told Ethan that I had made up my mind, that our relationship was over. Daniel said he would take responsibility for the child, and I admired his strength. Ethan pleaded for forgiveness, but it was too late. I had been through enough betrayal, and I knew I had to protect myself. After that, Daniel and I left the lodge. We stopped at a diner for a meal. We talked about normal things like our dreams and past hobbies. That night, I realized that in the midst of this disaster, I had gained a friend. The divorce was finalized quickly. I got the majority of our assets, and Ethan lost his chance at a promotion at work. He was gradually sidelined from important projects. Lily gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and Daniel texted me with the news. They were learning to be honest with each other, and I was happy for them. As for me, I've changed my life completely. I quit my high-stress job and became a freelance financial advisor. I've learned to value myself, to take time for myself. I grow herbs on my porch and write in my journal again. I also offer financial advice to other women going through divorce, using my own experience to help them. I don't think about Ethan anymore. The pain and regret are gone. I've emerged from the darkest night of my life, stronger and wiser. I've learned that love alone is not enough. Trust, respect, and honesty are the foundation of any relationship. And sometimes, losing something is the first step towards finding something better.